What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, I've got incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a strategic business growth and marketing and sales consultant. She is also a podcast host. Please welcome Ann Carden. Ann, welcome to the show.
Hello. So excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you here. So you are another one that fits into that boss babe category. Your career accolades are pretty incredible. So I was reading and I love talking about this because I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I've always been, and I love to talk to women that have been very successful on their own in business, because I feel like it is harder for us to reach that level of success.
I agree. Because women wear a lot of hats typically in their life. So it is harder for them, I think. They're trying to run homes, they're having kids, they're doing all the things, and yet they're trying to build a business. So absolutely.
Yeah. So your first business started out of a financial hardship after leaving your corporate career and income to stay home and raise the kids. And That first business went global. I like this, how you put in quotations, before the internet and the technology we have today. So yes. I want to hear, how did you make that happen?
I know a lot of people would be like, how is that even possible? So I started a craft business at that time. It was exploding across the country. Long story short, started designing my own dolls, my own craft dolls, and had my own designs, was shipping those all over the world. And I did that by investing in print ads in an international magazine, an international craft magazine. And I employed several other moms. I basically was running a manufacturing company out of my home. And then there were a lot of craft stores across the country. And so I was in multiple stores in multiple states. Wow. And so those kinds of things were almost unheard of back then. I mean, this was well over 30 years ago. Yeah. But I did that business for 7 years. But yes, that business was global. And I remember the day I got a call from Iceland, a lady buying my dolls, and she said, I collect your dolls. I just love them. And, it was just that was just something that just really resonated with me and was so exciting to me. Gosh, look what I've actually been able to accomplish this. But I have a strong faith. So I don't do anything without God, but
I love that.
Yeah, it was amazing to be able to do that. And now that would just be nothing to people. But back then that was not something that was common.
That's a huge compliment to you. So it says that you have built 7 successful businesses, selling 5. I'm assuming that's one of them.
Yes, that was the first one. I sold out all of my designs and everything when I decided to get out of that business. I had eventually gone into creating patterns, and I aligned myself with a pattern company. And so that was a whole nother revenue stream in my business, and it was a big piece of the revenue. So when I actually sold, I didn't sell finished dolls because that's what I was doing, but I sold out all of the designs and the patterns and everything to that company. In fact, funny story, Deanna, a couple of weeks ago, my husband was at some kind of a show, and he said, I could swear I saw some of your dolls at the show. And I said, well, my patterns are probably still out there all of these years later.
That is amazing.
So that was really interesting. That was the first time that had happened, but that was really interesting.
I love it. So can I ask, what did you do in corporate? Like, what was your role?
Yes, so I was in retail management. I worked for a very large company. They were a multi-billion-dollar company. They were comparable to like a Nordstrom's or so they were more high-end department store. And I managed multiple $1-million departments for them and did that for 13 years. Ran staffs of 30 plus people and worked in all different types of departments. So everything from furs to cosmetics to you name it, I probably was in that area at some point, but managing. So I did that for 13 years.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Just such a great story. So I love asking this question. When you left corporate, was that scary?
Honestly, I felt it was what I was called to do. When I had kids, when my daughter was born, first of all, when my son was born, here I am running him back and forth to daycare and all of that. trying to still work retail hours, which are insane.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult. And we were living in California at the time. I'm now in Missouri, which is where we're actually from, but we lived in California for 10 years. So that's where I was doing all of that. And it was so difficult running him back and forth to daycare. And then when my daughter was born, that was like, okay, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. I said, first of all, most of what I'm making is going out to daycare, which doesn't make any sense. And I'm not raising my own kids. And I really kind of started praying for a solution, because I just knew this wasn't what I was called. Why would I want to have kids and then not be able to have time with them? And being in that kind of a business, there was no leniency to being a mom. They weren't kind about it. And so I started kind of praying for a solution, and I really wanted to move back and raise my kids around family.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I would necessarily leave my career, but I knew something had to change.
Yeah.
And the way I was feeling in my life. And so my husband ended up losing his job, and that was kind of an open door. I think that was by prayer, to be quite honest, but it was scary because we ended up giving back his company vehicle. So when we made the move back to the Midwest, we literally put everything we had into making that move, buying a home. Wow. We gave back that vehicle. So we now had one vehicle, and we moved to the country, which was really what we could afford at the time. And so now we're miles out of town. I'm an hour away from any place that I could work. Even if I wanted to go back into my career, there were just no options. There was there was Walmart, and there was the grocery store, and that was about it. And so I, again, just started praying. And my husband was driving back and forth to the city, and everything he was making was keeping the roof over our head, putting food on the table. And when my son, they were even getting a lot of hand-me-downs at the time. I mean, I couldn't squeeze another dime from his pay. And their cousins were handing them clothes and all of that. But there was a point where my 4-year-old son needed shoes, and we didn't have the money. And I still get emotional, even 30 something years later. I know what that felt like. Sorry. No,
that's okay.
And so I started praying for a solution, and I had always been crafty and creative. And that was exploding across the industry, or across the country, I should say. And it was kind of like, oh, you have this box of stuff, maybe you can make something out of it. And that was how it started.
That is amazing. What a great story. Just, oh my gosh. Like, I almost started getting teary-eyed, because like my family, I'm the oldest of 5, and my mom, they struggled quite a bit. And I got a lot of hand-me-downs from cousins too. And I remember how tough it was. And then my dad left, and just it got even harder. So I understand that struggle and what it takes to you just be scrappy like that, and to try to find a solution to your problems out of nothing. Right? Did you have
it builds resiliency.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you really become resilient. You also become very resourceful. It actually really set me up to be very resourceful in all of my businesses. And I think also that's where my fire comes from today, to not settle. I see so many people that are entrepreneurs, and they settle to just make an income. And I just know, because of what I've been able to accomplish with businesses and the change that it's made in our life and the financial future we have because of businesses, I feel like people are just missing so much. They're missing out on just abundance and so much better. I try to kind of get that point across to people, like, oh, this is your ticket. This is your golden goose. This is your golden ticket to having a better life.
With that being said, now, what would you say to women specifically? I know men have a easier time making a switch and going after something. To women that might have a good business idea, but they don't know how to execute it, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, things today are so different from when I started. And today we have so many free resources. You can just go out and Google or watch YouTube videos. If it's just a matter of getting started, that will at least get you going. But I think if we're talking mindset, I would just say, if you feel it in your gut, if you feel it in your spirit that you should do it, you should. I got pushback not with the first business, but even with the second business, when I went into that, I actually got some pushback, because the business idea that I had. Well, let me just back up. So I
Okay.
gained 50 pounds when I was doing the whole craft business for 7 years. And I gained a lot of weight, and I had never been overweight in my life. And so I was really kind of became depressed. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I know I want to get out of this. I know I want to do this. And I sold this. I don't know what my next thing is, but the one thing I knew that I had to do was start taking better care of myself.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to, start eating better and all of that. Well, long story short, I ended up building 2 health clubs, 2 weight loss centers that I sold all of this. But it started because I took that step.
Wow.
And I fell in love with fitness, and I fell in love with how I felt as a woman, and how it was probably the most empowering I ever felt in my life, because I felt so good about me. And I felt like I was almost unstoppable. Like, I lost this 50 pounds and I'm in the best shape of my life. And I was always very active as a kid. I was in sports. I was cheerleader. I did all that stuff. But here I am, I'm dumpy and I feel miserable. And I just felt horrible. So when I did all of that, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most empowering feeling that I feel unstoppable. And so I wanted to start fitness classes, and I didn't get support with that. My husband was like, you want to what?
You wanted to teach them?
I wanted to teach them.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually got certified and, did all these things. And then I actually had to take courses. I had to do a mail in. I had to mail in and get the books and get all the stuff and learn how to become a trainer and all of that, and learn nutrition. So I did all of that. And then I'm like, I want to start fitness classes, and I want to help other women. And I started with women, actually. I want to help other women feel as good as I feel.
Yeah.
I want to help other moms who are not taking care of themselves. So that's how it started. So I actually went to, at that point, my kids were growing up and they were in school. And I thought, okay, there's probably a lot of moms at school. And it was a small school, so I knew most of the moms. And I went and I handed out handed out flyers at a back to school barbecue. I didn't have a computer at that time. So when I made my flyer, it was cut and paste things, typewriter. And I mean, that's really dating me, but no, that's the way it was. And handed out flyers. And I said, hey, I want to do fitness classes. And I already found a community hall. Would you want to come take these with me? And a lot of the moms said, yeah. So I'm getting paid $36 a month per mom for them to come. And then that just I kept growing and expanding. And that's a whole nother story.
Oh my gosh.
That's how I built those other 4 businesses that ended up changing our life because of the money I was able to make from those businesses and even selling those businesses. So
holy cow, that is so amazing. And so now you're but you are amazing. You're amazing. Just like, think about what you've been able to accomplish out of being in a very difficult situation, a hardship. Like, you've been able to turn that into something beautiful, and your whole trajectory changed, right?
Well, so thank you.
Did your husband start working with you at one point? Were you guys?
No, he never worked with me. He's always been an employee. He's retired now, but he's always been an employee. But it's really interesting because I actually, and he would attest to this now, but when I wanted to start teaching the fitness classes, when I had the craft business, he would go, I would do craft shows and things like that on the weekend, and he would go and help me set up. And so he was supportive about those things. But when I wanted to do the fitness thing, that was like, he's like, you want to do what? Because at that time, you have to remember when this was, and gyms were not around. We had one gym, one little bitty gym in town. Like, that was not a normal thing.
And people women being in the gym.
Yes. And that too. And so he just thought that was just kind of an insane idea to want to teach fitness classes. Like, what are you really going to accomplish with that? But here's the thing, and this is what I'm going to tell women. Again, I have a strong faith. So everything that I do, I feel like is a God download, or it's something that he puts in my spirit or in my heart. And I remember my 8-year-old, I think my son was about 8 maybe at the time. And I remember him sitting at the kitchen table when I told my husband, I found a community hall. He's like, kind of rolled his eyes, and he is not that way at all now at all. But back then he didn't get it. And I remember my 8-year-old son, or maybe it was 9, he said, Dad, I think Mama do great.
Aww.
it was like, and he still remembers saying that. And
Yeah.
it was, so my son was the one that supported me on
Yeah.
that. And I just felt like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try
Yeah.
it. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know, but I'm not going to sit here and do nothing.
Yeah.
And I want to still be a mom. I want to go to my kids' ball games, and I want to do all those things. And this fits my life. This fits my life. And
Sure.
so I did it. I did it against really him being supportive of that. But I knew in my gut, in my spirit, it was what I was called to do. I was called to help people. I've always been a natural. Everything I've always done has been coaching other people, managing other people, helping other people. That's always been part of my DNA.
I love it.
And this was no different. So yeah, I've actually probably coached thousands and thousands of people if you include all of my fitness
Sure.
background
Yeah.
and everything. I've been doing it for so many years.
You've been ahead of the curve, it seems like, with your businesses. Do you remember Women's Workout World?
It sounds familiar. I'm
Yes.
trying to.
So it's like a gym specifically for women.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
worked there. Yeah.
Machine. Yes.
I worked there for a short period of time when I was like 18 or 19 years old. And it was interesting. This was before, like, probably for you when you started that business where women started feeling comfortable going to the gym. A lot of women said to me when they would join, because I'd sign people up being a young girl, like, yeah, sign up, woohoo, that they had to hide it from their husbands because their husbands weren't on board with them working out. Yeah.
Yes, actually, I do remember them because I think when I was living in St. Louis and I was working for a large department store right out of school, working for them as a manager, I got a membership to one of those places. So it wasn't like fitness was never a part of my life or anything.
Yeah.
But I remember they had the little circuit thing and the weird machines.
Yeah.
I remember all that. Yes, I had a membership to them. And I remember the way those girls would dress with their leotards and oh my gosh, we are so dating ourselves.
Yeah, that's okay. We've got a lot of experience. That's all I have to say. All right, I think I could talk to you for a very long time, but so let's move ahead. So now you are into consulting, right?
Yes.
So you help people with strategic business growth, marketing, and sales consulting. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So mainly today I work with coaches, consultants, professional service entrepreneurs, mostly B2B space or professional space. And I did that because I hired a business coach in my last two businesses before I sold those. I was struggling in a new market with something. I wasn't a good marketer at that time. Burned up a lot of marketing money along the way. And she was a great marketer, but she was also a good business person. And she was so impactful to me. And that I really knew, gosh, I love this. This is my next thing. I loved business. I just couldn't get the marketing thing. So that's really how I got into the space. But when I first started, so I've worked in over 66 different types of businesses as a coach and consultant. Wow. Hundreds and hundreds of business owners in, all those multiple industries. And I eventually fell into working with coaches and consultants. I was working with small business owners and having a lot of success, but I was part of a coaching organization. And I was one of the only coaches that was having success and out of hundreds of coaches because I wasn't using their thing. And I took a step back and I said, what's broken here? What's not working? And I figured it out. Well, then they started kind of elevating me and promoting me in the company. And then the next thing I know, coaches are coming to me like, Ann, can you help me? Ann, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And I started working with them, but I found I was building their business, not mine.
Yeah.
And so that's when I made the shift. I actually do still have small business clients that I've been working with for years. And I still get them once in a while. They'll find me somehow, some way, because I don't market to them anymore. And they will find me and then I still will get clients, but I don't market to them. I work really in the, solo consultants and people growing marketing agencies and things like that. So,
what would be your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone who is exceptional at what they do. And they have real expertise, real experience, and they're playing too small. They want bigger things. I help them get those really high-end clients. So they get to play in the top 10, 20, 30% of the market and get them out of the shark infested waters, I like to say. So So typically, I'll help them bring in clients anywhere from $40,000 to over $100,000, $200,000. I've even helped mindset coaches go from charging $1,700 to closing $50,000 clients.
Woo,
So that's my main thing. But I help them build a premium model. So think about it. If you're getting $50,000 clients, you can have $1 million business with 20 clients. So that's the arena that I play in. Yeah.
And I think that someone that wants to make that jump, that is definitely even a mindset shift. So you're still coaching them to kind of make.
Oh yeah, I have to coach them through all of it.
Yeah, because I know for me, like if I was to make a shift like that, I'd be like, that's a big ask, right? To go change your fee structure to such a big jump.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't have to cut away everything you're doing,
right?
But you can add more premium levels or more premium layers. And here's the interesting thing, Deanna, that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of times those people are already, like if they're really doing stuff, like if they've got a network or connections or audience or whatever, what most people don't realize is those people are sitting there, but you're not for them because you're playing too simple. And so when I have helped people get, one of my clients closed a $60,000 client. She was charging like literally a few $100s a month. And she closed a $60,000 client in about 45 days. But I've helped people close very, very high-end clients in as little as 3 days or 7 days that literally blew their mind. And they'll say, but it's really about helping them understand. I extract their value. When I say their value, all their expertise, their experience, they just don't know how to put the pieces together. That's all it is. It's not that they don't know what they're doing. They're brilliant. They're amazing. They have fallen into a lot of the pitfalls and the mistakes that a lot of people fall into, which is your Facebook groups and selling low end courses and selling yourself in small ways. And they just don't know how to go after those big clients or what would even be, would be of value to them. And when I walk them through that process, they're like kicking themselves. Oh my gosh, the millions I've left on the table.
Oh, I bet.
So it actually happens faster than you think, the mindset shift. Not that they're not shaken when they close that first big client. I have text messages from clients going, I was shaking when I closed that client. But when I walk them through the process, they see, oh my gosh, I really have been leaving money on the table. It kills me that I've been doing that because they just didn't know.
That's amazing. You've also written some books. What can you tell us the names of some of your books?
Yeah, I have 3 books. Let's see. I have one sitting here. So the first 2 I wrote about small business. One, actually, they're behind me. One is kind of Secrets to Small Business Success. And then the other one is 10 Marketing and Sales. What is the name of that? I don't really use it anymore. 10 Money Making Marketing, 10 Money Making Secrets. That's what it is.
You're such a hustler. You don't even remember.
They're still out there. I don't really promote it. This is the one I promote.
Expert in You.
This is my bestseller. This is my recent one. And this is Expert in You. It's what my whole media company and brand is built around. And this is about helping people take their expertise and build a lucrative business around it.
I love it. And that's the name of your podcast.
It is. It's my whole brand.
And so what can people find on your show?
So my show is very strategic. I put other experts on my show, but typically I use my show as a lead generator.
Nice.
To get clients. So as you do. So I use it. A lot of people don't, and it also puts out great content at the same time. Or I use it to get partnerships. So there are a couple ways. I'm always looking for people that can be a client, can be a partner, maybe in a JV partnership, or they can be actually a referral partner. So those are an opportunity. There's some kind of an opportunity. So I'm very strategic with my show, but in the meantime, it puts out a lot of great content because I get to I shine a lot on other people and let them show what they're all about and what they have to offer the world. So it's a win-win for everybody. That's right. And with that being said, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more? Yes. Well, you can find me by going to A.L. Carden. It does have my middle initial L, alcarden.com. or you can Google me and you can find me. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I have a pretty robust YouTube channel. I've got loads of free resources on my website. So yeah.
Excellent. You guys, I'm going to put that link in the show notes. And I'm also going to put her podcast. So go ahead and check her out. Go listen to her if you connect with what she said here today, or if you find a need to become a client, you want to make those big dollars in your business, go ahead and reach out to Ann. She's obviously would love to help you. She wants to help people in helping them be successful. With that being said, Ann, excuse me, what are some last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave with us today?
I would like to say to anyone out there, keep raising your own bar. Never settle. You have so much opportunity. We all have opportunity around us, and it is just a matter of who is going to capture that opportunity. But don't play small.
That's right. Yes. All right. This has been so awesome. You are amazing. Total boss babe. You are a boss babe before that was even a thing. Thank you for being a guest today, Ann. And we loved hearing your story, and we wish you more success on your journey.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
All right, you guys. This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.